We just vanquished the holder of the Necro Sword.
Before he could harm any other gods.
The sword chose you.
I am so
I don't think so.
I'm perishing!
The name is Mighty Thor!
Nope! You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
This nigga is trash.
Well, hello, kiddies. This is your friendly neighborhood watchman, here with you again, this time to talk about Chris Hemsworth admitting to his poor performance in the last Thor movie, Love and Thunder, which I have to admit I could not bring myself to watch. Now, I would have if I promised a review on the movie, but I didn't. But in the future, if I feel obligated to review it, I will have to sit down and watch it. Even though I have nothing against the actor himself, Chris Hemsworth. I tell you, he was a fine Thor back in his earlier Thor movies, including the Avenger films. And I also knew that Taika Waititi had no love for the character. And why should he? He's not American. He was not a comic book fan. He didn't read comics as a kid. He didn't know the Marvel character from Adam. And he admitted to doing things to get a rise out of the fans of the source material. But I digress. And without further ado, let's dive into this article with the byline by Spencer Backley. No, I didn't say broccoli. And you know this, man! With the heading, Marvel star Chris Hemsworth admits to poor performance in Thor, Love and Thunder. Quote, I got caught up in Improv. Well, he thought he was on a Netflix comedy show. Quote, I got caught up in the improv and the wackiness, and I became a parody of myself, end quote. And he was no doubt led down that road by the aforementioned Taika Waititi. Looks like it felt good during the splits in an admittedly shocking show of humility out of not just an industry, but a franchise that has become notorious for refusing any and all criticism. Marvel star Chris Hemsworth has admitted that he missed the mark when it came to his over-the-top, wacky performance as the titular Avenger in Thor, Love and Thunder. He's a hot dog, huh? See the mustard and whatnot? The relish? The bun? That's a soft white bread and that's the crust, you see? Yeah. Anyway.
Daddy, chill.
Hemsworth publicly copped to his part in the film's failure, which, let's be honest, had little to do with his acting and everything to do with director Taika Waititi's creative choices.
Bingo!
Thank you. That's exactly what I was just talking about. During a recent interview given to Vanity Fair's Kevin Valby for the May 2024 issue of their print magazine. And there he is, from that Vanity Fair article. At one point during the interview, turning to reflect on his history as the God of Thunder, the actor recalled to Valby that while he was thankful for the chance to portray the hero, his sidelining in recent films have begun to make him feel, quote, like a security guard for the team. I will read everyone else's lines and go, oh, they got way cooler stuff, he asserted. They're having more fun. What's my character doing? It was always about, you've got the wig on, you've got the muscles, you've got the costume. Where's the lightning? Yeah, I'm part of this big thing, but I'm probably pretty replaceable, end quote. Further compounding Hemsworth's sentiment was the fact that, even by his own admission, his wildly panned performance in Thor, Love and Thunder did little to help bolster the hero's overall franchise standing. Quote, I got caught up in improv and a wackiness, and I became a parody of myself, he told Valby. I didn't stick the landing, end quote. Notably, this is not the first time the Australian actor has recognized the tonally bizarre disaster of his most recent MCU adventure. Speaking to the topic of Love and Thunder's poor quality during a June 2023 interview with the British edition of GQ, Hemsworth asserted, quote, I cringe and laugh equally at it. I think we just had too much fun. It just became too silly, reflected Hemsworth. It's always hard being in the center of it and having any real perspective. I can understand that. I love the process. It's always a ride, but you just don't know how people are going to respond, end quote. As I mentioned, Waititi, you know his movies, and admittedly, he's made quite a few good ones.
Told you so.
You fucking didn't.
I was a fan of his, way back when.
Do you want a kiss?
Yeah.
Will you be my girlfriend? Yes. Yes, I will. Awesome.
Before he hit it big and came to Hollywood. Yet despite this admission of Love and Thunder's less than impressive quality, Hemsworth would admit that he would still be open to returning as the Golden Avenger, albeit with one condition. Marvel has to do something new with the character, preferably not as a comedy relief. Quote, I love the experience, said the actor. I love the fact that I've been able to do something fairly different throughout the process. Thor 1 and 2 were their own thing. Thor 3 and 4 were a very different feel. You could say that again. And then even Avengers. The Lebowski Thor, the Infinity Thor, due to different directors, and I think mostly, my own need to do something different. You know, I got sick of the character pretty quick every couple of years, he admitted. If I was going to do something again, it would have to be tonally different. And we'd have to do something very drastic to keep people on their toes. Otherwise, it's just the fatigue of those characters and those films where people are like, I've seen it, end quote. Yeah, I get it. Spinning the wheels. You want growth. Unless you're in this for the paycheck. Well, folks, when we have the opportunity, we make it a habit to read some reader comments. And to start us off is a post from the Judging Crow. Would Hemsworth's hammy acting could have worked if it was backed by a good script? And sadly, that was not there. Yep, I mean, a good script, right? Goes a long way. Raider68 replies, instead of that hot dog in the above picture, he should have been covered in rye bread, Swiss cheese, and a good spicy mustard. He's talking about a Reuben sandwich.
Get in my belly!
Next up, from Bat Stud, we have, they need to cut the humor and dive into the fantastic stuff, but take it seriously. A Thor movie should be epic, dramatic, moving, and exciting. It should have a sweeping score, as much as I like Led Zeppelin, and crazy visuals. It should be Shakespearean, which is something Branagh understood. Branagh, of course, being Kenneth Branagh, the actor and director, who directed the first Thor film, and unfortunately didn't direct the second, the sequel. But, according to him, he needed to, quote, recharge his batteries after spending 3 years on that first film. So, yeah, we can understand that. Next up, from Lord Followad, we have Thor, Love and Blunder seems to accurately sum up the MCU. As for its direction, The Last 10. In 2014, the first Guardians film was released. Decidedly a bigger risk than even the first Avengers, because no one knew who the characters were. And the actors at that time weren't big names. The film itself was riding off the success of the MCU up to that point. It was clear they needed it to work beyond being another chapter, so they made it more humorous than previous MCU films, which worked massively in its favor. But then slowly but surely, the entire MCU ended becoming similar to the Guardians, with everything always just being a joke or some absurd comical put-down.
They call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What a bunch of a-holes.
This guy nailed it on the head. I agree. Then we get Ragnarok. as breathing new life into what was a slightly less than successful series of Thor films, but looked no different than a Guardians film.
He ain't lying.
Then the fourth entry. Now Thor is with the Guardians, and look, he dresses like them too. Okay, kitty. As I mentioned earlier in a text, I did see the movie, and Lord Fatherward hit it on the head. He mentioned many of the problems I had with the film, or many Marvel films in general, post Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy films. It's not Thor though. It moves to the beat of its own drum. The film being so successful with a bunch of no-name characters that the general public wouldn't recognize, and like Hemsworth said, he became a parody of himself, which I agree, others may feel differently, but growing up reading comics, he wasn't Deadpool.
Oh, hello.
But anyway, this film wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to.
Shocked. We're shocked.
Don't get it twisted though, because the bar was set horribly low. It wasn't a great movie, wasn't a good movie compared to the best of the MCU. Most of those films were in the past, are from years gone by, not including Deadpool and Wolverine, because I haven't seen that one yet. The ending, blah. He runs off to team up with the little girl. That's Love and Thunder, huh? Did nothing for me. Hey, the first 6 minutes were stupendous. They were woke free.
Oh. Because I'm better than you?
Bullshit. And that's ignoring a gaping plot hole where the first god you meet in the film starts bragging about killing the last owner of the Necro Sword.
We just vanquished the holder of the Necro Sword before he could harm any other gods with that cursed blade.
The sword that can kill gods. Freaking epic god-killing weapon. There's there lying on the ground. You think it would have been stored away in a vault somewhere where Zeus can keep an eye on it, aka Russell Crowe. But, you know, Disney owns it. And Bob Iger hasn't given up on his woke DEI virtue signaling bullshit agenda.
Hey, Bob.
But I wanted to add, Thor is not a title to be passed down. He is a person. He is Thor Odin's son. The son of Odin.
Duh.
Screaming goats? Them fuckers are annoying. You think one time will be enough. But no. They gotta do it over and over and over again.
Stay on target.
But I digress. I'll give a more in-depth review in another video.
You suck.
Next up from SWF we have Translation. I really wanted the money, and at the time I thought hitching my horse to the idiot. To that idiot, Taika Waititi.
Say what?
Taika Waititi. Okay, let me try and pronounce this. Waititi, Titi Akfatia, an awoke female Thor, played by an actress who previously said she would never come back to Marvel and didn't like superhero movies, will get me way more jobs and let me virtue signal to no end. That hasn't happened, so now I'll claim that it wasn't really my choice and that I was seduced by the concept and that it wasn't really my fault. Of course, that being the hypocrite Natalie Portman. There, fix your statement for you, Chris. Next from Guest Best is, never saw it, but after Ragnarok, I didn't want to. I feel you, buddy. That's how I felt. They turned Thor into an idiot. He's right, he was a parody. Just seeing the trailer was embarrassing. The first movie is Citizen Kane. Rosebud. The first movie is Citizen Kane in comparison. Last but not least, Rick Jones. Yep, that was a flop of a movie, but I blame Waititi for it, not Hemsworth. Waititi he wasn't the right director for these films. Also, it's funny that in an MCU obsessed with representation and identity, they had Kiwi actor Russell Crowe play the Greek god Zeus with a lame Italian accent, no less. And British Jewish actor Brett Goldstein played Greek demigod Hercules. Because, you know, all these white people look the same. And representation only matters for other ethnic groups. Well, folks, and with that, we come to the end of this video. So if you agree with the article, then please hit that like button, subscribe, if you haven't already, and click on the notification bell so that you'll always be forewarned for whenever I'm about to drop another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.